sincerity, goodwill, support, generosity, etc. Regarding trade, like so many of you said, you've already asked the rhetorical questions. I think answers to those questions are implicit in your questions themselves. But there are two major points I want to highlight. Trade between our two countries, Nepal and Bangladesh, has been increasing. It is not that it is stagnant. If you look at the data, it has been increasing. But like I said, it remains at a modest level. So if you ask me for particular reasons, one has to do with various barriers that we face in each other's country. I'm not particularly talking about, let's say, Nepali products, Nepali trucks coming to Bangladesh facing those non-tariff barriers, but vice versa. So we need to work on that. If you look at the trade facilitation measures, that the trade facilities, custom facilities, land ports, or seaport, that's number one. Number two, I also refer to the ongoing negotiations of PTA. Actually, this PTA, like one of you said, is an area which we have, both of our countries have been negotiating for so many years. We have already almost closed the text. And if you remember, the Trade Negotiating Committee, which is the actual expert, even if it's with a small, narrow basket of goods and products that we want to sell to each other's countries, I think it will be a good springboard for enhancing trade linkages. So other than this, there are absolutely no other barriers, as I see, because the land route connecting Banglaban, Fulbari of India and Kakarbita of Nepal has been operational since 1997, and it remains to be operational. But having discussed all these measures that the governments and non-government organizations or development partners can take, we should all concede the fact that traders, business people would always look for profit. So if there are OTCs and tariffs imposed on the goods and products, they are not profitable. That may be the major reason why our traders are not trading to the extent we would have liked them to, but it's increasing, and I hope it will continue to do so. There was one particular reference to Nepali market. If you, on a lighter note, you're talking about Nepali market being full of Indian goods in the past, but if you go today, you'll find even Bangladeshi products. A lot of brand products, a lot of pharmaceuticals which were discussed so much, a lot of kurkures and juice and a lot of other Bangladeshi products in Nepal. So it has been growing. Even just like in Bangladesh, you have Nepali lentils and maybe oranges, ginger and some other products. So it is increasing, but I say there is no mincing of the words. I say that there is a lot of work to be done. Second was about energy cooperation. Each of your question one by one. But energy cooperation, I think this has been a topic which has been at my topmost list, to be very honest and frank with you, since I arrived here, because this is a low-hanging fruit for both of us, for both Nepal and Bangladesh. Low-hanging because there is potential, there is willingness from both sides, Nepal and Bangladesh. That's why I call it a win-win enterprise. And after so many years of negotiations, we have at least started with a small baby step. So I won't say that there are not potentials as we go forward. We have started, and there are also two other projects that I referred to, which are quite big ones, 683 and 500 megawatt. Of course, energy will not come tomorrow, even if the investment starts today. Bangladesh government is interested in the investment in a hydropower project called Sunkosi Third, which is 683, and Upper Karnali, which is 500 megawatt. It's between Bangladesh government and GMR Company of India, like I referred to in my remarks. So if these projects materialize, there'll be some significant hydroelectricity from Nepal flowing actually to Bangladesh. Electrons have already flowed through the transmission lines from Nepal to Bangladesh through Indian grid, but they will continue to grow. That is my hope, and I'm fully confident that we'll continue to make progress. And we are actually working towards that end, because looking at Bangladesh's needs and Nepal's potential, clean, green and sustainable hydropower should actually be our sunrise industry, as they say. Third one is BBIN. BBIN, I think I discussed this in length in my remarks as well. BBIN was concluded in 2015. You might know the motor vehicle agreement. But let me put it right at the beginning this way. There is a misperception about BBIN in our sub-region. BBIN is not just about connectivity. BBIN is not just about motor vehicle agreement. BBIN is about connectivity, energy, tourism, infrastructure. It's an umbrella framework if you look at it. MBA is a part of that BBIN. Of course, we started with connectivity, and there are two protocols under BBIN. Passenger and cargo vehicle protocols, which are under negotiations. The texts have been finalized. We had a trial run for the passenger vehicle in 2018, I guess. So, as you can understand, some of you in the audience, I am aware of that, have already served as Bangladesh's ambassadors, as diplomats in various countries. You know how at times tedious and slow sub-regional, regional and multilateral processes are. So we should acknowledge that, but we shouldn't say that BBIN is dead or something. I think I would slightly, we'll have progress in all those sectors, including connectivity, energy, tourism, of course, in under the frameworks of SAARC and BIMSTEC, among others. There was a very direct question about Mongla Port preference, and my direct answer to that, traders and business people, if it becomes beneficial, profitable to them, they would definitely come. And if you ask me about Mongla Port, it has been in the priority of the government of Nepal. If you look at the high-level visits and exchanges, we've always said, compared to other ports, Mongla is closer, nearer. If you look at the distance from Lam Port of Nepal to Mongla Port, and that has been the priority. Because the connection between Singhabad, Rohanpur railway track was